Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fight for Our Freedom Radio. And I'm your host, Bad Baby, accompanied by my co-host, Alex Lujan. Alex is back! Yay! I thought I'd start the recording a few minutes early uh, so we could give a few announcements. Last week, we did have Dr. Richard Allen Miller with us. And unfortunately, towards the end of the show, he started feeling ill and having some problems. So we ended it a little bit early, but we did invite him back. So he will be up next Friday night. We will have him back to update us on things that are going on. And we're going to find out, we're going to get to the bottom of what's going on at the border. Uh, And also, tonight we are like doing a repeat with Robert Evans. We had him on a few weeks ago, and unfortunately, the recording was taken down. Uh, I know it was there the next morning when I started listening to it, and then it just started. I started getting emails, and people were saying the recording was saying processing, processing, processing. So that is obvious that whatever we talk about Planet X, it seems like we're getting a lot of harassment, interruption, and interference. Now, Robert Evans is avid on Facebook, and he messages me and calls me pretty much on a daily basis. And he's been telling me that a lot of his posts have been taken right down, and also he's being blocked. Now, this evening I did notice he posted, I can't remember what it was, he posted something and he said, "This is a new post." And of course, I went and looked, there was nothing there. So we are going to try to put up some of his posts this evening, and Alex will be working the board and putting up some of Robert's picks and also some of Alex's picks. And again, I want to thank everybody for keeping Alex in your prayers, and please continue to keep him in your prayers. Um, Robert is going to be calling in like a couple of minutes after the beginning of the show because he had a problem calling in last time. So let's see if he can get in. If not, I'm probably going to have to just have you guys wait a minute while I can get a hold of him on my telephone and maybe three-way him in. I hope we don't have to do that again tonight, but it worked last time, so let's see what happens. Let's see, what else do we have on the agenda? Hello, Rob from Waterford, Michigan. Glad you're here to join with us. And feel free, anyone, to type into the chat if you have any questions this evening for Alex or myself or Robert. We'd be glad to try to answer any kind of questions you do have. It does look, folks, like the time is getting short. A lot of people are capturing objects in the morning, coming up at the sun, and going down with the sun. And just seems like, I posted this afternoon a video of the effects on our planet. There's a lot of flooding in Saudi Arabia, sinkholes that are opening up. Let's see, there was flooding in Italy. God, in Saudi Arabia, I just posted one where the poor camels, they're being washed away. The poor things, they probably don't know what the heck's going on, because they're so used to the dry desert, and here they're being washed away in a flood. It's just heartbreaking what's happening to our planet. And it's just a shame that 90% of the people don't even have a clue what's going on, and us that are out here trying to make you be aware of what's happening and awake you are having a hard time getting the word out. So, just keep us all in your prayers and see if we can fight the fight and be here for you. If, you need support or advice, you can always leave us a message or check Alex out on Facebook. He's been giving out a lot of advice. People have been asking him a lot of questions about what am I looking at and what can we do. So, just know that we're here for you guys. Please don't be, up in a panic over this, because basically it's the cards that we're being dealt, and I have no fear. I know where I'm going. Alex has no fear. We just want to be here to try to help everybody through this. Now, there was a while back, a couple years back, because Dolores Cannon's been dead a couple years now. I don't know if you people know who Dolores Cannon is, but she used to do deep hypnosis regression therapy. And she was talking about, she wrote, I think, like 16 or 17 books. This woman was in her 80s. And in one of her videos, you can find her on YouTube. And in one of her, she did lectures. She went all around the world doing lectures, telling people about the alien contacts she was getting through the deep hypnosis regression. And basically, one of the things she had said, she talked about the pole shift and our planet splitting in two and becoming two planets. She said the evil would stay on the old planet and the good would be on the new planet, which is basically what the Bible tells us, that, that there is going to be a new awakening. So, but one of the things I found interesting about her was that she had said back in the 50s and 60s that she was getting these messages through this deep hypnosis, that a lot of people that were born at that time were star children. I don't know if you ever heard of star children, but basically she said these were souls that volunteered to be here at this time when the pole shift was going to happen, to warn and help those through it. I wonder sometimes, if Alex and myself and all the other Planet X researchers are star children. It's a good possibility, because I never thought I was going to be out here talking about this. I just kind of stumbled across it and I became very educated on it. But Alex has joined me, so let me unmute him and we can say hi to him. Hi, Alex. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm doing okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's so
Can
glad to have you back.
yeah, well, me too, me too. But can you hear me Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
I don't have no internet issues. It's not saying I'm running low bandwidth or anything.
No, but when it does that, oh, I do, I'm getting an echo. I'm hearing myself. So, but when it does say that you have low internet is when you're putting up the pics, is basically, when that's happening.
Right now I'm running wired. I wired it myself.
Oh, you're running hardwire now?
Yeah, hardwired right now.
Yeah, that's how my computer is too. So I told Robert, since he had a problem calling in, to wait until a few minutes after 10, because I've noticed that a lot of people that call in before 10 o'clock, for some reason they leave. That's why I opened up the recording a few minutes early. For some reason they leave the chat, they leave the call, and I think it may be because they don't understand that TalkShoe has changed. It used to be when you came in 15 minutes before the call, you could hear me talking. I guess no one can hear me talking unless I start the recording now. So what I'm probably going to do is try to come up with a format for the first 15 minutes before the show starts. And that way, when people come in early, they'll know that I am here and not to leave, and so on and so forth. So have you got anything to share with us this evening before Robert gets in here?
Yeah, let me get something right now. Let me get
Okay.
something let me get something going up right now. So how you been? How was your Thanksgiving?
Well, it was very peaceful here. It was kind of warm. It's warmed up over here in Michigan, which is, I mean, we've been going through this freeze, 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 and then warm, warm, warm. And for it being the end of November and we're in the 40s, this is unusual. We were like 48 today, and we're going to be 48 the next 2 days. And then we go back down to the deep freeze. So the only thing I can figure is the reason we're going through that is because we're wobbling back and forth.
Pretty much wobbling very bad.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Yeah. Well, have you? I don't know. There's a new kind of cloud coming out right now. I'm gonna share that right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna share my screen. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna try to see if I could do this right now if it works.
Okay. And I gave you moderator control, so if I get busy with if I get busy with Robert and I'm being harassed in the chat room, I'm going to let you handle muting people.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you that photograph. You see that?
Wow. What the heck is
We ain't
that?
got. I don't know. They said it's a new punch cloud, something like that. But take a look at the way the cloud looks. I mean, I could understand if it was circular. Yeah, it's punched out because if we live on how would you say a spear, we're a spear and everything, a circle. But to have a rectangle, like look like this. Excuse me. No, I don't know.
Okay,
Something funny going. These donuts. We have something right here. Are you there?
yeah, I'm here.
No. I'll wait for Robert to get on so we could go ahead and I'll show some more.
I had to kick my dog out of here. He's chewing his bone. I'm sure everyone heard this gnawing sound. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
was I was trying to post that we were going to be on the air tonight, and it was being, I don't know, only part of it was going up. I don't know what's going on. It was just saying talk shoe. I put on there that you and I and Robert were going to be on. Okay, hold on.
yeah, no, I just messaged Robert right now too.
Hold on, hold on. Take your screen down because I can't unmute somebody.
Okay. Hold on. Let me stop sharing.
I think this might be Robert.
Yeah, that's Robert right there, 719.
Hello, is this you, Robert? Hello, 719. Is this you, Robert? I don't think it's him. I don't think it's him. Oh, there he is. He's calling me. Okay, go ahead and take over. I'm going to mute myself and then I'll patch him in.
All righty. So I hope you guys today enjoy the show. We'll be talking to a Planet X expert, Robert Evans Jr. This man he has pretty good knowledge from of the Anunnaki, knowledge from the Pope, and from our powers to be, such as our elites. They know about them knowing everything. So I hope you guys enjoy this show. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Hello, Donald. It's pretty good on yesterday I was outside. I was looking up at the sky, and I could have sworn I saw the moon do some type of somersault. Like it was one way you could see the moon look like it was uh, like I don't know, you could see the face look one way, and then all of a sudden when you look like 5 minutes later the face is turning the other way. I don't know, it just looked weird to me yesterday. Have you guys seen anything like that? I'm gonna see if I can share some screens or if I share my screen right now and show you guys one photograph. Pretty awesome photograph. I've been doing some of this research right here, trying to figure out more or less what's out there, what's not, and I don't know. The ISS seems to be picking up all kinds of good stuff up there, and I still can't believe that they still let us see that. Oh, that one's not it. Oh, I downloaded some photographs right now from the ISS. Now I can't seem to have find them now. Well, just again, let me share with you guys what was following us on the 12th. We had some moons. All this what you guys are seeing on the screen, if you guys can see, all this stuff is not what we consider stuff that's on the camera or on the lens. These are actual objects. These are actual celestial objects in the sky. And you have something following the moon. It was on the 18th, I believe. Yeah, the 18th of November. You got something there following it. Look at the way the moon reflection looks like an oval shape. And right here, you blow this up, you can actually see your actual objects right here. Look at that. And they call these some of these Mercury, Venus, Mars.
Okay, I'm back. Hold on one second. I got to get my phone out of here. Sorry about the inconvenience, you guys. I think this is Robert right here. Hello, Robert. Are
Yes,
you
he
joining
is.
us now?
Yes, I am. Sorry, it's my boost. It's my Metro telephone. It wouldn't let me call in.
All right. So now we know that your phone won't work. So I'll make sure that I patch you in before we start the show next time.
Sorry.
Ain't that strange, huh? Metro P Metro PCS not letting it work, huh?
Well, we lost a lot of people. We've got one.
Technology.
Two, three,
Yep.
four, probably about 20 people left because they probably didn't think that you were going to be here, but they'll
I'm
come back.
sorry.
That's all right. Hey, honey, you know the way it's been for us with us researchers, people should understand that we're having a hard time even getting out here to give the news out. I mean, look what happened to your last
Right.
recording. It was taken down.
And this one will probably be taken down also. Now, do you have all those photographs I sent to AJ
Yes, I do.
today?
Yes, I do. Which one do you
Good.
want to start off with?
That's entirely up
Which
to you. I know all of them.
All right, so let's start off with this one first. Let me share my screen.
And while we're waiting for AJ, I just want everyone to know that we're here with Alex Lujan, Bad Baby, and Robert Evans. And we are going to cover some
Yes.
of Robert's and Alex's picks and try to redo what we put out there the last time. So go ahead, you guys.
Well, here I got you here on this one right here where it looks like they're covering it up with chemtrails. It's a rainbow effect.
Oh, that one. That's that's using. I think they're using blue beam to hide those. That's one of the planets that's actually in our it's in our solar system that we can be seen from the Earth, but they're hiding it, and it's like there but not there. Looks like a almost like a shadow planet. You can see the blue parts on it there, AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
Yep, I
people
can
are
see it right
catching they're catching the images in the skies as these things get closer and closer to the Earth. The powers that be are failing to completely hide them. That's why that one image looks that way. Quite actually,
here. And we got
it's a fantastic image, isn't it? Yeah.
that when I first saw this one, I was like, no way. I was like, that was seen in broad daylight.
Yes.
Jeez. I bet you that's the one
Now,
that we're seeing. The one that we're seeing. I bet you this is the one that we're seeing that's covered around with the clouds. Because there's one right now around the sun that's always covered with clouds.
we have 11 or more planets or moons in our sky being hidden right now. Okay?
Yeah. I knew that we had more than 7 planets coming in. Because the way I figured it, I thought that
Well,
it was coming in.
NASA imaged Nibiru back in 2008, and the image was cropped before it was leaked, and there were 13 lines going in different directions away from the. I'll send it to you later when I have a chance. And each one of these lines went to a planet or a moon orbiting Nibiru. So I know there's over 11 images in our skies right now. Because since 2015, I have images of all of them.
Since 2015, that's when you got yours? Because I think that's the very first time that I caught something. It was you could say a greenish object. It was a day on my mom's
Okay.
birthday. It was in 2015. There was like a greenish object that came by in the sky, and everyone kept pointing at it. But they thought, in their mind, they said it looked like the way it was. They said it looked like a comet, but which it wasn't, because this object was moving. It
Right.
was like traveling like the way we see our stars move. So when I saw that, I go, this doesn't belong here. And I started thinking back. I was like, no way, this has to be. Then I started, I say
Right.
Harrington's Harrington's Planet X system. When you see the green one they call Harrington, I was like, oh my gosh, this has to be the green one. And then I started realizing that we seen the
Right.
green one, we started seeing like a rainbow-ish, like a stripe one come in. Then when I seen that one, I was like, all right, this is a system. The system's here.
Yeah. Well, the first image that was really caught was back in April 10th, 2015. It was caught down in Antarctica at this one base, which had been tracking Nibiru for the Vatican and for the United States. And this image was very clear, and it showed a certain whatever where you could clearly see it in the sky. And this was not one of our moons or anything. It was caught. That was caught down near Antarctica. Then my friend Sharon, she caught the exact same thing in her skies over Illinois on April 29th in color. And the two of them were a direct match. And then after that point, we started seeing one after the other, after the other, after the other, going all the way up until about 2017. That's when the chemtrails and the blue beam were being heavily used to hide these objects in our sky. Because I've been posting these images on Facebook on a daily basis. They knew they were being caught. Powers that be, whatever they're using, either this blue beam or the heavy chemtrails, the white chemtrails during the day, the black chemtrails at nighttime, to hide all this stuff in our skies. But numerous people have been catching the images over and over and over again. So they know they've been failing. But at the same time, they don't want everyone to panic if they looked up into the skies and saw all of these things in our skies. Hippowur, an Egyptian scribe back during 1615 BC, he was calling it the omens, that they saw the omens in their skies. Now, he never went into more of a detail as to what he was seeing, but at one point he actually saw this red object, very large in their skies over Egypt. And they called this the Destroyer. Okay?
Now, AJ,
Holy.
excuse me a minute, Robert. AJ, we've got a couple people in the chat that are saying they cannot see the share screen. So can you put those downloads in the chat so they can click on them and be able to see them also? And also, Robert, you have a question in the chat. They want to know if it's 1 million times stronger than our magnetic field.
Planet Nibiru, yes. Planet Nibiru has a very heavy I'm trying to think of the word right now. Gravitational pull, electromagnetic pull. And it's affecting the Earth's crust right now. Affecting the Earth's crust with earthquakes, and the earthquakes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. As this thing comes in, see, it's been here 3 times before. So all your friends in the chat room listening to me, this thing has been here 3 times before in human history. And all of the ancient accounts I've been able to find, and I have them all. It was first seen way back when about 2900 BC by the Chinese Emperor Yahoo, Yahou. He saw it come out of the constellation of Yin, and it caused the oceans to top the high mountains of China. Just as if you've ever seen the movie 2012, near the end of the film, you catch where the Chinese monk is up in his monastery, and here comes the water over the Alps. That's where they took that one part for the movie. The second time was during Noah's flood, or Ziasuda's flood in the Sumerian text. Noah has gone by many names. That was somewhere around 12,900 years ago. The third time it was here was during the Exodus, which was very real. A guy named Ipawer, an Egyptian scribe, detailed the entire account, which matches the Holy Bible's Exodus account. They both match completely. Heavy earthquakes, everything. Now, the Hopi people, I hope you have some listeners from them. The Hopi people at the end of the third Hopi world, which was ended by water, Noah's flood. They had heavy earthquake activity, and that's what's coming up. Now, powers that be, they had been planning on a crustal shifting of about 23 degrees to the southwest. So that would put the equator right up around Mexico going into the United States. That's why all of the maps from Edgar Cayce, from John Moore, show all that area is underwater right about down there. So they've been planning on this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The Anunnaki, believe it or not, met with President Eisenhower at the Holloman Air Force Base over in New Mexico in 1955. They also met with Pope Pius XII in the Vatican Gardens at the same time.
Robert,
So
would it be possible for you to can you pull up the articles that you read last time you were on about the third secret of Fatima, and there was something else we went over. There was something else that you read something about the Pope also. Could you pull those up and go over them for us again this time? And I also, we have someone from TalkShoe that is in the chat right now. Her name is Sarah, and we want to welcome her to the call. And now, folks, we know why you aren't seeing the pics. She has posted up in here that you have to go out, rejoin our call, and click on the green Join Online Studio button, and then you will be able to see the pics that Alex is putting up. So thank you for that help, Sarah. We're struggling here trying to figure this all out. Also, we had somebody else in asking us if this is live on YouTube. Right at the moment, no, we aren't. We are going to be posting up on YouTube, and eventually we will be able to live stream right into YouTube. We just got a lot on our plate right now and haven't got around to it, right, Alex? Are you with me? Oh, he's muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna agree with you. Yeah, it's just that hey, I mute myself when the man's talking. I give him respect. I give him the floor. That's why I
Yes.
mute myself.
Well,
Yeah.
I just want them to pull those articles up and go over them for us again, because I thought they were fascinating. And,
Well, we were talking about him. We were talking about I think Eisenhower and I think it was Harry Truman or someone like one of the presidents.
yeah,
They signed some type of declaration or whatever it was, a peace treaty with the Anunnaki and this other race. I remember us hearing something
Yeah,
like that.
the President Truman started the MJ-12 program, which tied Eisenhower's hand in 1954 when he went to the old Muroc Army Airfield, where they actually met three races: the Greys, a reptilian-looking race, and an interdimensional race called the Assyrians. And it got pretty interesting. That one thing, yeah. Okay, Secret of Fatima, Pope John Paul II. Okay, back in 1980, Pope John Paul II went to a German town and met with a large group of paying German Catholics. There was also two reporters that were in there. Okay, Third Secret of Fatima. Now, this was recorded by this one magazine, and it was available over in Europe, but not over here in the United States. Okay, the question, Holy Father, what has become of the Third Secret of Fatima? According to Our Lady's instructions, wasn't it supposed to be revealed in 1960? And what will happen in the church? Now, this thing was up on the internet for years until only recently they pulled it. The Vatican pulled this page. Luckily, I had copies of it, so I knew exactly what it said. The Holy Father's response was, because of the seriousness of its contents, in order not to encourage the worldwide power of communism to carry out certain coups, my predecessors in the chair of Peter, the popes, have diplomatically preferred to withhold its publication. On the other hand, it should be sufficient for all Christians to know this much. If there is a message in which it is said that the oceans will flood entire sections of the earth, that from one moment to the other, millions of people will perish, there is no longer any point in really wanting to publish this secret message. Many want to know merely out of curiosity or because of their taste for sensationalism, but they forget that to know implies for them a responsibility. It is dangerous to want to satisfy one's curiosity only if one is convinced that we can do nothing against a catastrophe that has been predicted. At this point, the Holy Father took hold of his rosary and said, "Here is the remedy against the evil. Pray, pray, and ask for nothing else. Put everything in the hands of the Mother of God." Then he went on to say, we must be prepared to undergo great trials in the not-too-distant future. Trials that will require us to be ready to give up even our lives and a total gift of self to Christ and for Christ. Through your prayers and mine, it is possible to alleviate this tribulation, but it is no longer possible to avert it, because it is only in this way that the church can be effectively renewed. How many times, indeed, has the renewal of the church been effected in blood. This time again, it will not be otherwise. So that was Pope John Paul II's thing that he talked about over in the German town. I can't pronounce the German town, so please, I'm sorry. Now,
that's all
I
right,
checked
Robert.
into this.
Now, Robert, are you familiar that the current sitting Pope has just posted an article that he is asking for deliverance from Nibiru?
No, I do not. I wish I'd know exactly where that is, so I can go right to it and find it.
Oh, I'll send it to you. You go right ahead. I'm going to mute myself and I'll go look it up.
Okay. Now, the interesting thing was, after Pope John Paul II, you had Pope Benedict. Pope Benedict was the first Catholic Pope in 500 years to retire. Now, after he retired, he went on German radio stations and chastised the, let's see, let me dig up here real quick. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. More strangeness. Pope Benedict the 16 on German radio issues warning about the Vatican agenda. He blasted the Jesuits. Okay? And he was talking about the Vatican and its alien agenda. And that was after Pope Benedict retired. Pope Francis had already been selected. But here's the Pope Benedict saying that the Vatican has an alien agenda. Kind of interesting. That was back in May 13th of 2014. It'd be interesting to read this new one from Pope Francis talking about the Nibiru coming in, because they're tracking it. Back in early 2000, a Jesuit high-ranking priest left the Vatican with the Vatican's orders to tell an Italian reporter, Christopher Barbato, everything. And he did. Christopher Barbato actually found he tracked this Jesuit and found he was actually legitimate. He worked for the Vatican. Christopher Barbato told his friend Lucas Scantamburlo only so much. And Project Camelot with Lucas Scantamburlo did a 2-hour show your listeners can find on YouTube called The Return of Planet X. Now, in this video, he talks about Eisenhower with his spiritual contact, the Bishop of Los Angeles, Francis McIntyre, meeting with the aliens at Muroc Airfield. Now, another person was there, Randolph Hearst. He actually took a team right there to the meeting there at what now is called Edwards Air Force Base. Now, let me dig up that real fast for you.
Okay, Robert, you're not online right now, are you?
No, I don't have Wi-Fi where I live.
Okay, so you won't be able to read this article. So while you're doing that, what I'll do is I'll put the article on your Facebook page, but while you're looking that up,
Yes.
I'll go over the article for you. It is from,
Okay.
have you ever gone to the website called someonebones.com?
Yes, I have.
Okay, this is where this article is from. They are researchers on planet Nibiru, and it says last Monday, Pope Francis held a private meeting at which he told the clergy to pray for deliverance from Nibiru, said a Vatican insider speaking under condition of anonymity. The gathering occurred shortly after the publicly delivered an entirely different message to the Academy of Sciences, telling the I got to get my glasses on, you guys. I'm sorry, I didn't plan on reading.
Okay. Yeah, well, since you're on that right now, since you're on the same website, did you know that the Russian scientists are actually saying that Nibiru is gonna reach us in February 2021? It's right. It's on
No,
there.
is it
It's
on the
called
same webpage?
yeah,
Well, why?
yeah. I have it right now. I have it up right now. It's called Daily Nibiru changes shock Russian scientists say. Says scientists and astronomers at the Russia's space agencies have made a startling discovery that could dramatically affect life on Earth before Nibiru's pedigree in the early 2021, says the Russian astronomers and Planet X whistleblower Dr. Bayam Damran, I think like Zakharich. And it says, and it's stating right here that they recognize that Nibiru has 7 planets. It says right here, last Tuesday,
Yes.
astronomers at Russia, Vostok, Antarctica research stations were conducting a routine survey of Nibiru's transit through the solar system when they noticed a frantic disappearance in the planet's orbital and rotational mechanics. Until last week, all 7 planets in the Nibiru system spun counterclockwise on their axis. Now they have unexplicitly begun spinning clockwise. So they're saying Nibiru's going to be here. It's going to be here in
Yes.
2021.
Well, okay, Alex, why don't you scroll down and read the Pope's praying for deliverance so I can follow the chat here, okay?
Okay. No, why? It's still more that I got to read on this. It's a
Okay.
long story. It's a long way. You know what? Matter of fact, you know what? Hold on. Let me do something better. I would
Can
tell
you
everyone
post
could see
that?
this. No, what I'm gonna do better. Everyone, if you guys want to see my screen, you can click on my icon. Click on my icon that's right there on the bottom, and you guys will be able to see it. You guys will be able to see my screen. Can you see what it says right there now? Can you see my screen?
No, no,
You have to click on my icon.
I did click on your icon. I clicked on it.
Oh wow, I have the I call the website up, and
Hey,
it's talking about
AJ.
the Russians are saying that. Yes.
AJ. Yes. The brown dwarf star Nemesis, which NASA took a photograph back in 2007 and 2008. I have the image. I didn't send it to you. So NASA knows about Nemesis, okay? Nemesis has 6 planets. Planet number 6 is Nibiru. The dwarf planet Sedna is number 7. Now, in some of your astronomy programs, if you find the dwarf planet called Sedna, pick it up and then back way off on your program to see its huge orbit. Now, the dwarf star Nemesis has about 35 to 40 degree higher angle, or actually lower angle than our ecliptic. Okay? All of the planets in the Nemesis star system all rotate clockwise. All right? Now, if anyone ever looks in their astronomy program and looks at Pluto, Pluto is also being pulled downwards, just like Sedna. Now, there used to be another program called Astro Viewer. Astro Viewer was up for years. It was pulled only within the last 6 months, just like the thing from Pope John Paul II. So only within the last 6 months have they been trying to pull all these programs that actually show this stuff. Now,
well, obviously, Robert, let me just do a real quick highlight here, just showing that the current sitting Pope knows that the time is short. I'll just do these 2 quick paragraphs. While citing a date, the Pope said time is short, and that Nibiru is rapidly speeding towards a position that will place it between the Earth and the Sun. When that happens, he added, the institution of Catholicism would face Judgment Day. Pope Francis isn't concerned with the millions of Catholics across the world. It's about the survival of the Vatican and Catholicism. He knows that sins that have been committed by his flock and his silence on the issues of greed, corruptions, and pedophile priests has jeopardized the continuance of the institution. He believes that Nibiru will smite the Vatican and condemn him and thousands of priests to purgatory when Nibiru reaches Judgment Day. He hopes their prayers can prevent this from happening by sending Nibiru away. The Vatican has known and feared Nibiru for a long time. Well, my. You think that they're going to pray it away, you guys?
Okay, wait, hold on 1 second. Now, John Moore has done several videos talking about what he knows, okay? Now, up in South Dakota or North Dakota, the Vatican has a deep underground military base all to themselves. They have communications set up with the Vatican over in Rome, high-powered communications. So they don't have any. As soon as everything starts to go down, they will go into this base, go down about 2,000 feet, and they'll wait until the dust settles. The Jewish religion also has what's called a DUM, deep underground military base. From what I've been told, so does the Muslim religion, because most of North America will be above water. Okay? According to Edgar Casey and according to John Moore, now you've seen John Moore's map, Bad Baby, so you know that John Moore's map matches Edgar Casey's map almost to a T.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I talked with him at the conference in Minneapolis, he had given me a copy of his video. He had also mailed me a copy of it earlier, but what he had presented at first was Edgar Casey's map, but then when he sat down and talked with his military insiders, they told him that he was very close and they altered it slightly. I don't know where they altered it, but that altered map is the one that is on his DVD.
Now, his altered map shows that when this happens, the Great Lakes we have will all rip right down through the United States, leaving a trail almost between 50 to 100 miles wide. He also shows most of the East Coast gone back to that first mountain range.
Yeah,
which goes up the entire.
about up to the Smoky Mountains is where that goes back to, and
Right.
all that's left of Florida is like just maybe a little nipple and a panhandle. And from what I could see in Michigan, it just becomes a diagonal island that goes from like just above Chicago up into my area of the thumb here over in the Port Huron area, but it's
Mhm.
a thin, thin island. I mean, Michigan's like just flooded toast.
Now, back here on the West Coast, just like Edgar Casey said, and what you saw in the movie 2012, the West Coast will disappear back to Yosemite and Lake Tahoe. And there'll be an island chain going all the way up to Canada of all the big mountains. The new West Coast shoreline, according to both maps and according to Mary Summer Rain, a Native American with another Native American, they prophesized the new West Coast shoreline will be in Colorado. Now, Mary Summer Rain, she did a prophecy in one book a while back, and she said there'll be mass looting, killing, raping, people killing each other for any way to survive, because the powers that be, they will have everything that's being pre-positioned at the Walmarts you've seen across the United States.
Now we have a guest that
And
has their hand raised, Robert. Let's see if we got a question here.
Hey, go ahead.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah,
Welcome to the call.
The reason the government's building these secret underground bases is because they're expecting an apocalyptic event.
Yes.
But you know the Edgar Casey and these others are as lost as a goat in a hailstorm. I mean, they've been more wrong than right. Casey has been wrong so many times it's ridiculous. I studied on him. I studied on him when I was in college. If you want to know what's going to happen, if you look at a book by Pastor David Wilkerson, a great man of God, who wrote, it's called The Vision, and he was shown by God in a vision the destruction, the collapse, the complete destruction of America. And he says it will come slowly. It will not come. He said there will be a great earthquake, and it will happen somewhere not where these earthquakes normally happen. Another pastor on the Sid Roth show had a vision from God, and he said it will be in the New Madrid area is where the Lord showed him a massive earthquake that will be so chaotic that it will split the center of America. The Mississippi River will become much greater. People don't realize it, but actually the Mississippi runs along a fault line. And
right.
So if you look at the book by David Wilkerson called The Vision, you'll see the destruction of America. And there will be a great earthquake. It'll happen somewhere where earthquakes don't normally happen. But it will not, the destruction of America will not come, Pastor David Wilkerson says, because of this earthquake. It will just be one of many events that will lead up to the complete collapse of America. And he said that it will begin with economic confusion that will spread from Europe to Asia and then finally to America, and that it will end with this complete breakdown in society. But it's not a cataclysmic event that brings America to its knees. It's an escalation, a continued escalation of one event after another, leading up to the inevitable destruction of America. His name is Pastor David Wilkerson. The name, look, you can actually go onto YouTube and just type in David Wilkerson.
Yeah, I've seen him before. Well, I agree that it is going to be And we are seeing the events unfold. I mean, with what's going on in America right now with the destruction. And we are familiar with the New Madrid fault line. I've researched it and done shows on many shows on it. And one of the things that the people are hearing, the trumpet sounds in the sky, if you go back and you research the great earthquake that happened along the New Madrid before, you can go into the newspapers and people were reporting the same trumpet sounds in the skies. That's the Titanic plates rubbing together, and also the smell of methane gas. And people are reporting that
Right.
also. So this
Dr.
is just the.
Exactly.
Dr. Eric Karlstrom, if you look him up, he mostly writes about mind control technologies, gang stalking, the New World Order. He's on YouTube. His name is Dr. Eric Karlstrom, and this is his area of expertise. He was a geologist. He was he basically has a PhD in geology and geography. So if you want to know more about it, you should just contact him. His name is Dr. Eric Karlstrom. His website is gangstalkingmindcontrolcults.com. And it's KARLSTROM, and he'll return your emails. He'll respond. He's a friendly person. This is his area of expertise. His name is Dr. Eric Karlstrom, but he doesn't really speak on it. He mostly does his research now. He's a professor emeritus out of Colorado State, and he's retired. He did his 20, 30 years, and he retired, and now he writes mostly about mind control technologies of the CIA and the Department of Defense, organized stalking, and the New World Order.
I will see about contacting him, but we do have experts on this show too.
Okay, Bad Baby. That one
Thank you.
was from
Excuse me. What's your name, dear?
This is Brian too, former DoD contractor.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Brian, for your comments.
Okay, Bad Baby.
Yes.
The other letter you want me to dig up is from a guy named Gerald Light. He was at Muroc with Randolph Hearst and a hand-picked team of Western scientists to meet these aliens. And everyone was sworn to secrecy except Bishop Francis McIntyre. He refused. Gerald Light swore to secrecy, but he wrote this letter to his friend Meade Lane right afterwards. He says, "My dear friend, I just returned from Muroc. The report is true, devastatingly true. I made the journey in company with Franklin Allen of the Hearst Papers and Edward Norris of Brookings Institute, Truman's erstwhile financial advisor, and Bishop McIntyre of L.A. When we were allowed to enter the restricted section after about 6 hours, in which we were checked on every possible item, event, incident, and aspect of our personal and public lives, I had the distinct feeling that the world had come to an end with fantastic realism. For I have never seen so many human beings in a state of complete collapse and confusion as they realized that their own world had indeed ended with such finality as to beggar description. The reality of the other plane aeroforms, flying saucers, is now and forever removed from the realms of speculation and made a rather painful part of the consciousness of every responsible scientific and political group. During my 2 days visit, I saw 5 separate and distinct types of aircraft being studied and handled by our Air Force officials with the assistance and permission of the Ethiopians. I have no words to express my reactions. It has finally happened and is now a matter of history. President Eisenhower, as you may already know, was spirited over to Muroc one night during his visit to Palm Springs recently, and it is my conviction that he will ignore the terrific conflict between the various authorities, MJ-12, created by President Truman, and go directly to the public via radio and television. If the impasse continues much longer, from what I could gather, an official statement to the country is being prepared for delivery about the middle of May. I will leave it to your own excellent powers of deduction to construct a fitting picture of the mental and emotional pandemonium that is now shattering the consciousness of hundreds of our scientific authorities and all the pundits of the various specialized knowledges that make up our current physics. In some instance, I could not stifle a wave of pity that arose in my own being as I watched the pathetic bewilderment of rather brilliant brains struggling to make some sort of rational explanation which would enable them to retain their familiar theories and concepts. And I thanked my own destiny for having long ago pushed me into the metaphysical worlds and compelled me to find my own way out. To watch strong minds cringe before totally inconceivable aspects of science is not a pleasant thing. I had forgotten commonplace things as dematerialization of solid objects. Star Trek, the transporter beam, had become to my own mind. The coming and going of an eccentric or spirit body has been so familiar to me these many years. I had forgotten so much a manifestation could snap the mental balance of a man not so conditioned. Now this guy, Gerald Light, he was there with his hand-picked team of Western scientists, and they watched a huge block of something dematerialize before their eyes and then rematerialize back on the same counter. I had a friend years ago do a LexisNexis search for that term. The term dematerialization was not used in any book, story, movie until 1965. And this is 1954. So they had the ability to transport things from one area to another.
Yeah. I've
Now,
had Stuart Swidlow. Do you know who Stuart Swidlow is?
No.
He is a survivor of the Montauk Project. And as a small boy, they actually did time travel with them on the Montauk Island, the military. So yeah, they do have they do have the ability to transport through time.
Now here's another point. We've heard about these animals being found on many ranches around the United States. The animals are found with their tongues cut out, with their eyeballs cut out, their organs cut out, like you had a scalpel or a laser. Now, all of these animals, they were checked. There was no blood in any one of them. No blood was found on the ground. No footprints were found around the animal when they were found. They were beamed up to their craft. The work was done. All the blood was drained, and the dead animal was beamed right back down using this dematerialization, put the animal right back on the ground where it was found. Now it makes sense, okay? To all your listeners, no one saw the animal disappear. No one saw the animal come back with all these things cut out of it. There was no blood on the ground around any one of these times. No footprints were ever found because they had it beamed up and beamed right back down. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with an ET, Anunnaki, or any of the other ones that are dealing with the people here on Earth on a daily basis. Okay? Now, Dr. Greer, the last time I talked to him on Facebook, he told me that we're dealing with over 50 ET races on a daily basis. Now, the SOHO satellite that watches our sun, stereo ahead, stereo behind, SETCHI, which is the U.S. Navy's camera, and they watch everything. They have been seeing since SOHO first came online back in 1998. They have seen numerous starships in the camera. And they have videotaped them, they have recorded them, and I have over 3,000 images from 1998. Now, you saw that one I sent you a picture of, right, AJ? That nice flying saucer?
They've been seeing
You're
them
not there
over
now?
here
Okay.
too, Robert. And you know,
Okay.
Dolores Cannon's take on that is she says that the ETs are coming from galaxies far, far away, and all different races of them, because they are going to be here to watch what happens to our planet, because this is a once in a lifetime deal, and it's like the greatest show on the earth to them, or you know, the greatest show in the galaxy.
Now that point I can agree with. The best image caught by SOHO was back in 2005. They caught with the EIT 304 camera. They caught this big ship coming down the left-hand side of our sun. Very clear. It was trailing dry plasma behind it. I had a friend, he enlarged it up. This big ship matches directly what the ancient Zoroastrian religion calls the Ahura Mazda. Okay?
Now, AJ was going to make a
Over
comment. Do you have that ship, AJ, to post for us?
I'm gonna have to send it to myself and get it because he texted to me. Let me get it and I'll share it right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Now
Welcome.
the Zoroastrian religion used to be and still is over in what we now call Iran. Okay? Zarathustra was a being which brought the religion to them. Now, these images are on these walls over there in this one area. I can't remember the name exactly where they are over in Iran. But these images were carved over 3,000 years ago. It looks like a outstretched wings of a bird, but this thing does not have bird's legs. It has landing gear. It has two poles going down with round wheels at both ends. And right in the middle, standing in front of this ship, is an Anunnaki that almost everyone I've talked to before says is the Anunnaki Enki. Okay? So the filmmaker John Gress, back in 2006, he made a film called One Anunnaki. Now, he knew about all these images and all this stuff, and he depicted this ship flying over in the airspace over the Earth. Here's a man on the ground, and here's his ship flying right over him, which matches what was carved. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see one of these. Now, the images that Soho catches, I have so many of them where the image is a huge flash, and then a ship comes, is caught. Just like the Enterprise coming out of warp or has lost its warp engines, just it's caught. And I think they turn on their cloaking devices after that image is caught, where you see the flash, you see the ship quickly decelerating, and the Soho camera takes one picture every 15 minutes, where the next image, you don't see it. It's not there. So they must be putting on some kind of cloaking device so the satellites can't keep following them, or we can't see them in the sky itself. But they show something using faster than light drive, just like Star Trek.
Okay, Alex,
Okay, I
what are
got
we looking at here?
okay, this one right here. You're looking at what he was talking about the ship that was carved, the one that has that wing, the one that has the landing gears. I'll show you the other photograph that matches this one he's talking about right now, because this is the one that was pulled off that movie, the Anunnaki. I wanted to see that movie badly too. I'll let you see it right now.
But
Here
the
we go.
film was pulled back in 2006, so no one saw it. It was pulled by the government.
You see the way that bird? No, the way it looks, a ship,
Yeah.
wings. Yeah, that's what was taken out of the movie. Oh, this is some awesome work right here. Whoever that guy had a mind
Now,
or not, he really knew.
those
He really
images
knew
are
about it.
being seen on a daily basis. Okay? Soho doesn't want you to see them. The government doesn't want you to know about it. They're there every day on the web page that covers Soho.
Well, their chemtrailing isn't covering it up very well anymore, is it, Robert?
No, and they knew it would not be able to work to a certain point. At some point, all those things that are in our skies are going to be seen. And then all hell is going to break loose. They know it, you know it, I know it, your listeners know it. Okay? That's why they have these deep underground military bases, the DUMBs. They were created at first by an engineer working up in Norway. He was a high-ranking engineer, but he turned politician sometime during the 80s. And he was the first to out these deep underground military bases up in Norway. He said they were being built because Planet X was coming. He also said very clearly, and I still have the original post he did for Project Camelot, where he said all of the elite will go into these deep underground military bases, and everyone that's left on the surface will die. Very clear.
Well, I
Sorry,
actually
I
had someone send me a video, sometime last year, where they said that they lived in the Smoky Mountains all their life, and they were up there hiking, and they were like astonished because the military had sealed up the caves. They put like cement bridge, looks
metal
like a
bars.
bridge, and metal bars where you can't get in. Did you see that?
I've seen many posts like that over the years. Yes, ma'am.
So, I
They've
mean,
been
the only
sealing up all.
conclusion I can get is, when the debris field comes through and meteors are striking the planet, they don't want people to be able to run into the caves to try to protect themselves.
Well,
Am I still on? Can you hear
all
me?
of your,
Yeah, you're on.
yeah,
I think the reason why too, one reason why they're sending all the military around the whole world is because they're trying to build a barricade. They don't want no one coming in, no one going out.
right. These fantastic underground living spaces for the elite have been built all around the world. Okay? And as soon as things are just getting ready to go wrong, they're all going to go down there and hide. Okay? So it'll be, the economy will go right through the tubes. The elite, the leaders will disappear, and we will all be on our own. That's why I've been on Facebook for many years, quietly telling everyone to get prepared, because this is coming. Now, you have that one photograph, Alex, that I sent you that was caught by the International Space Station, showing the curvature of the Earth and showing a big red thing off in the distance. You have that photograph, don't you?
Alex is muted again.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah,
go ahead,
yeah,
Alex.
yeah. I got it. Yeah, I got it. I'm presenting it right now as we speak. I know which one you're talking about.
Show that to the listeners of this show in your chat room. That big red ball you see off in the distance over the Earth, that is the planet Nibiru. No ifs, ands, or buts. That was taken by someone on the ISS station orbiting above the Earth. And somehow they got it down and it was leaked.
I can't believe they still let this be up. Oh yeah, you know what? It could be Mars
I
too.
know.
Because I think at that time, at that period of time, we were at one point closer to Mars at that time when this picture was taken. But then again, they've been lying to us
That is
so much.
not Mars.
I know the astronomical programs that we have right now. They're saying that object that we're seeing right now is Mars, but why is it staying in the same spot for the same place for like almost 4 months?
Right.
Could be that
We
it could be
cannot
that
see
object we're looking
Mars as
at.
that. We cannot see Mars like a bright red ball you're seeing in that image. Okay?
Well,
Okay, I get that.
when they first talked about Nibiru, when was it? 1971 when they put it in Science magazine. Was that the year?
1950.
I really don't know.
I can't remember what
They've
year
been
it was. It was in the magazine, Science magazine, and then they hushed it up. And no, because Ronald Reagan was in office when that was put
That
in
was 19.
Science magazine.
That was in 1980, about 1980s, yeah, because Ronald
Yeah,
Reagan they hit president
because
in
then after
1983.
they said we had 50 years and this planet was going to come in 50 years. And now we're overdue because we're past the 50 years. But if you remember, Ronald Reagan wrote an executive order not allowing anyone to talk about it. And President Trump lifted that order, if you guys recall that. Do you recall that?
Yeah, yeah, we got a listener that says that it was in 1961 and 62 in the Popular Science magazine.
Yes. Yes, that sounds about right. And that sounds about like when that was when Reagan came out and said he made an executive order saying that no one was allowed to talk about it. And I find it interesting that Donald Trump he abolished that executive order because they know, there's too many people talking about what are they going to do, round up the whole planet?
Right.
And if presidents are saying you can't talk about it and then you can talk about it, and Science magazine has an article on it, then why does everybody say that we're full of, you know, dung? I'm not going to say poo-poo. I'll be nice. But I mean the
No, but
trolls.
I know, and one of the scientists said that he was like all shocked because there was like three of them laughing, saying, "Oh, it's not gonna happen at our time." And then one of the guys said, "Well, it's not gonna happen our time, but it's gonna happen to our grandchildren's generation." He was all scared, and then he had
Right.
who was it? One of a leak, someone who leaked it out, saying that they're watching it like it was in their backyard, and they're seeing it with the big old ugly debris tail. At first, in the beginning, they thought it was just a dust cloud when they were looking at it, and then when they started getting closer and closer, they started realizing it was a celestial object in there, and they started realizing that what made it look like a dust cloud, that it was its iron oxide, dust around it. When I heard that, I was like, "Whoa!" And then you start hearing what other people talk about, and you read about in the Bible how these other people perished back then. Like, yep, everything starts feeling like a T, like a glove.
And the fact that it's not exactly here yet. I mean, we're seeing it, it's coming in, but we are seeing the effects on our planet big time right now. And I agree with
Yes.
this person that just called in that, you know, oh, it's not going to happen just boom, boom. No, it's going to be gradual. And the graduality is happening right now. We're having flooding. We're having massive sinkholes. We're having the ocean disappear on our shores all around the earth.
And the earth
And then
is
it comes back.
and the earth is cracking up in a lot of areas. Over in Saudi Arabia, they have huge cracks in the ground. Over in India, they have huge cracks in the ground. Over in Peru, they have huge cracks in the ground. I've seen one post after another, showing these images showing huge cracks here, huge cracks there. They don't really know what's causing, or so far they don't. Now, this thing is in every religion, okay? The Hopi people call what you see that big red thing coming, they call that the red kachina. And they say very clearly that it will cleanse the earth of all the non-believers. The Holy Bible calls that big red thing wormwood. Okay? The ancient Egyptians called it the destroyer. In fact, the ancient Egyptians knew it way back in time. So they have a lot of history they've never let anyone else know about. This Egyptian called Ipuwer, in his ancient papyrus and from the book The Kolbrin, your listeners might want to check that out. It's called The Kolbrin, KOLBRIN.com. He actually talked about it. Let me dig that up real fast before I forget about that now. The Kolbrin is an interesting book. Now, I went through Catholic school. We were all told that the Pharaoh in charge of the Exodus afterwards demanded to know how the God of the slaves was more powerful than all of Egypt's magic. And he demanded that everything be brought forward to him so he would know how and why and what. Now, the Kolbrin dates from the Exodus, which has been detailed by Joshua Gates and Expedition Unknown. Joshua Gates went to the island of Santorini, and with an Italian professor, they sent an ROV to the bottom of Santorini's crater, and they actually could detail the time when it had exploded, and they checked the explosion of the island to about 1615 BC. Now, another archaeologist group, they were looking through all the huge pumice, all the volcanic ash, which is all over the island. And they found an old olive tree at the very base of the ash. They carbon dated that olive tree to 1613 BC. So now you have 1615 to 1613, that time period right there of only, 2 years. Now,
Okay,
Ipuwer.
one of our listeners, Robert from Waterford, went back and looked it up for us, you guys. It was in Popular Science magazine, and it was 1961, which in the first issue of 1961, which in that article they said 50 years, which would bring us up to, we are 8 years overdue right now. We're past the 50 years.
Right. Okay.
Thank you, Robert, for looking that up for us. Continue, Robert. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. I got too many Roberts here.
No problem at all. No. Now, you see, this guy named Ipuwer, he was an Egyptian scribe. They were the only ones who could read and write. They wrote everything down the Pharaoh told them, and they told the people. Now, to everyone's surprise, it was not an Egyptian Pharaoh during the Exodus. It was a Hyksos Pharaoh. The Hyksos were a Canaanite people. Okay? James Cameron, who did Titanic, years ago did another show with an Israeli film producer called Exodus Decoded. And during that film, they talked about the Hyksos, and they talked about Avaris, Egypt. Avaris, Egypt was the capital for the Hyksos. The Hyksos were in Egypt from the 12th Egyptian dynasty to the end of the 17th Egyptian dynasty. Now, at the end of the 17th Egyptian dynasty, two Egyptians from Lower Egypt came up and kicked the Hyksos out of Egypt. They were Chamos and Akhmos. They kicked the Hyksos out of Egypt up towards present-day Jerusalem. Now, here's another weird point. Akhmos, the first pharaoh of the 18th Egyptian dynasty, reunited Upper and Lower Egypt. Akhmos in Hebrew means brother of Moses. Okay? So they had that history. They've known that history for a long time. They don't want the Israelis to have a foothold there. But they also don't want to have the Hyksos there either. Because the Hyksos actually were in charge of part of Egypt. And that ticks off the Egyptians. As I would be if someone came here to the United States and had a little country right here all unto themselves. So there's your religion. The Holy Bible knows this. The Vatican knows this. You know it. James Cameron knew it. Now, in this Avaris area, they had a dig with an archaeologist, and they found pumice and volcanic ash from the old Greek island of Thera. Thera was erupting for about 8 days, then it exploded. It's now called Santorini. But it exploded because the destroyer, Nibiru, Wormwood, was in the skies over Egypt. Now, Ipuwer said, back at that time, from the horizon upwards, the destroyer, this big red mass in the skies, took up almost 1/5 of the Egyptian skies. Will it be that big this time? I don't know. It was even larger in the skies when you had Noah's flood. You didn't have Noah's flood during the Exodus. So what's going to happen this time? All of the world's governments are prepared for what's coming, or at least they think they are. All right? In the United States, we built all the FEMA camps. The FEMA camps are for the survivors, because they are going to need a workforce to clean up, cremate the dead, and rebuild. That's why outside of each one of the FEMA camps, they have several thousand 5-person cremation boxes buried underground outside the FEMA camps.
Well,
You there,
they've been delivering those 5-person coffins on semis all over the last few years, because where they were storing them was on some farm down there in I think it was Alabama, because it's not far from Dr. Betty Martini's house. And when she first found out about it, she went over there and videoed it to verify it. And she said, yes, they were there. And a lot of people, when they first saw them, because they were in standing upright position, they thought they were porta potties, but they weren't. They're the FEMA coffins that'll hold up to 5 bodies.
And these are cremation coffins.
Yeah, they're plastic, so they can burn them.
Yeah. You're going to have a great many dead people just here in the United States when this thing comes down. They are going to have to, they'll have to pick up all the bodies, or you're going to have diseases going left and right. And that's why they have the cremation coffins.
Now, do you think, Robert, that they're because I had read that they're hiding the actual death toll on the fires over there in California. Do you think that part of this is happening for them to get rid of people possibly before this event happens so that they got less cleanup?
It is a severe possibility. Do I want to think that they're starting it already and they're just letting people die? I would like to think not.
Well, what makes me suspicious, and this is what makes me suspicious, is that I just read an article today that they said that they're hiding the actual death toll of the people that were caught in the fire. Now, if, let's go with their cover story. If it really was a forest fire that got out of hand, what's the point in hiding the actual death toll? You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's over 1,000 people that they cannot find at all. Now, they have a death toll, the last I knew, of about 80 people that they have found bodies or bones for. Now, supposedly, this started in a canyon that led into Paradise, and the wind was just blowing through that canyon really bad. I've got friends that have lived there, and they say it's all just white clean. One of the people that lives near me works for Starbucks, and they had just recently built a Starbucks up there, and it's all cleaned. Now, when this thing comes down, if I were to take Mary Summers Rain, her prophecy as to what was going to happen, you're going to have millions and millions and millions of people dead just here in the United States. All those bodies have to be collected. They have to be cremated. Otherwise, you'll have all kinds of diseases going left and right.
I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Alex?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna take like 7 months to do all that. Somewhere around there, about 7 months. No, back in the old day, I think when he was reading something about Epotar or something like that, Epopar, I don't know, I can't pronounce his name. He said something that it took like 7 months for them to get rid of all the bodies that were on the ground. So I feel it's gonna
Well,
take almost
when
like us
I
20 to
interviewed
7
Al
years.
Cuppet, and he's the retired Joint Chief of Staff of the Pentagon, he had reported on my show earlier that there are actual trains that will drive into a crematory, and they are going to burn these bodies, and there's a conveyor belt that goes into the back of a semi truck that will load the ashes into these trucks. The trucks are going to spread the ashes out onto the fields, onto the farm fields for fertilizer.
Now, the only point behind what you just said, Bad Baby, is everything functional after everything hits? Are all these things going to be operational?
Yeah, I mean,
Are we
how
going to have
if
any
we have
electric
a
power?
solar mass ejection, and it fries everything out there. But you got to remember that these underground facilities have the capability of driving semi trucks right down in there.
Yes, they do.
So, I mean, because I
But
actually had a listener that said that they were going down I-75, and there was like 15 Coca-Cola trucks, 15 Walmart trucks, and this was all around the time all these Walmarts were closing for supposedly plumbing problems. And so they thought,
right,
what the heck? This was like a 5-mile long thing of semi trucks. And so they thought it was kind of strange. They followed them, and where did they go? They went right to the entrance for the underground facilities. Now, they came up and videoed one of the truck drivers and said, what are you doing? They said, we're taking supplies to the, I guess he said Massachusetts. And this was going in the West Virginia area. And he said, you mean you can drive underground that far? And he goes, oh yeah, you can go for miles and miles. He goes, this goes all over the United States. So, and if you ask me, I don't know exactly, but this is my opinion. I think that when they closed those Walmarts down, it wasn't, we all know it was a cover story, the plumbing problem. I think that they just
right.
moved everything that was in that Walmart underground for them.
But that's if all that underground stuff doesn't come down when the Earth's crust shifts. Okay? Are they all going down to be buried
I think they
when the
are. I
Earth's
hope they
crust?
are.
It
I
would be
don't I
nice
don't think
to get
they're going to
all the
survive it. How in the world can any kind of a dome or cement walls stay intact when the Earth's crust is going to pull from the planet and spin? All that, I think that's all going to bust up, and more power to them. I hope that, that's going to be the end of their demise. No more of their bullpucky or whatever you want to call it. You got a take on that, Alex?
Yeah, and don't forget when these walls crack, you're gonna have all this plasma. I mean, all this magma go in, man. Come on, we have magma under the ground. We got magma coming up, and the
right,
wall. And you get did you guys actually know? I think somewhere in I think here in somewhere in the United States, channel. I forgot what YouTube channel posted up too. I was about to say too that the reason why I was saying bring that up is the ground right here somewhere it's boiling. The ground is getting it's hot. I
It's
forgot what channel
boiling
what
right.
in
YouTube channel.
Yellowstone.
There you go. So
It's
someone posted
Yeah,
up. Yeah, it was boiling hot. It was boiling. I mean
yeah.
boiling.
There was a man that his dogs jumped into the river up there, and they started yelping, and he jumped in to save them. All three of them boiled to death in the river. The river is boiling up there. The buffalo are fleeing the park, and also there's a video of the Blacktop Road in one area of the park. They've closed it off because it's melting.
Yeah.
So yeah, the
Now, there's
magna's coming
a,
up. How many volcanoes do we have in the last year, Robert? Well, last time I counted, I think it was 39 that have become active, and there was one not too long ago that became active that hasn't gone off for over 300 years.
right. Now, up there in Yellowstone, you have Steamboat Geyser. Steamboat Geyser normally only goes off once every couple of years, okay? Steamboat Geyser has gone off 28 times in this 1 year alone. So something is boiling underneath Yellowstone, and it's getting very hot.
Now, last week
hate.
when I had Dr. Rick on, he said that volcano out there off the coast of California has been erupting, and he said that volcano is right on the plate line, right on the fault line. And he says when that puppy blows completely, that's when you're going to have your massive earthquake.
Yeah.
Well,
Basically, that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for because they said that volcano right here in California, it puts Yellowstone to shame.
Yeah, because
So
it's a super volcano. It's a super volcano, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, super volcano.
That's what I thought.
That one down south, I can't remember its name. It was originally a super volcano, which they thought was dormant, a long valley that they thought was dormant, but now it's reactivated, where they don't say it's dormant anymore, and they're getting earthquakes all around it. We have, I don't know how many volcanoes here in California. We have Clear Lake up there near Paradise. And it's a volcano. I didn't even know it was. There's this one guy on YouTube named Dutch Since. He's been a friend of mine for years. And he does videos talking about all the volcanoes and the earthquakes around the planet on a daily basis. Most of the recent earthquakes have been down under New Zealand. Now, these predictions from Edgar Casey and several others, they show New Zealand coming completely up out of the water, making a huge island, far larger than it is right now. They also show Lemuria popping up between what used to be the West Coast and China, a huge landmass right there between us. Another one out there in the Atlantic. These predictions, are they just someone, just having fun with the predictions, or what? I have no idea. Edgar Casey, Alex doesn't believe Edgar Casey, but a heck of a lot of other people do. They said he's been, just fantastic with his predictions. Now, with all these predictions, I would love to have all of them go wrong. I would love to see nothing to happen as this big red thing gets in our skies and goes past. But Murphy's Law tells me something is going to happen. What? I don't know. I can only tell you what the ancient accounts said. And they said all hell was breaking loose then. We've got over 7 billion people on the planet now. Way too many people than they had back during the Exodus, during Noah's time, during Chinese Emperor Yahu's time. Now, all the predictions from what Pope John Paul II said and what the Georgia Guidestones say, there's going to be like a 95% depopulation happening before the dust settles. And that's something I really don't want to hear. But only time will tell. Now, Yoda, when he was asked what's in the future, he said the future is always moving. So it's never the same thing. Time will tell what the future is. Unfortunately, we have to go through it. Sorry to say.
We're picking up a little bit of background noise there, Robert. I thought it was Alex,
I
but
don't
it's
have
not him
anything.
and it's not me. Huh, I wonder where
I
it's
don't have
coming
any
from.
sound. I don't know. My wife's
Okay,
closed
stop
room.
now. It's okay, it's stopped now.
Okay. Well, the
Okay,
powers
well,
that
we're
be
coming up
always
on the
listen to
last
what we
few minutes
say.
of the show there, Robert. So why don't you give out
Sure.
some information on how people can look at your posts or contact you if they want to contact you?
Sure. Okay, I'm on Facebook under Robert H. Evans Jr. Robert H. Evans Jr. I post on Facebook in the public. So you don't have to send me a friend request. If you want to, I try to get to them. I have so many requests. I have a maximum of 5,000 friends on Facebook. And I usually stay within 4,500 to almost 5,000. But you can always go to my Facebook page. You don't have to be a friend to see what I post. I post the newest images I can. Like, okay, that one image I sent you, Alex, that one has this huge looking sunrise in the background. You remember which one that is?
I'm
Should be
trying to
in your.
remember. The one with the huge sunrise?
Yeah, it looks like a huge sunrise looking out towards it. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I think
It
I know
was
which one.
number one.
Let me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm uploading it
Now,
right now.
that huge sunrise you're all watching on that one image, that has been seen many times over the years. That huge sunrise you see in that image, that is from Nemesis. That's not from our sun. That's not from Nibiru. That is seen early in the morning, right around sunrise. And you can only see that on certain parts around the planet depending upon how much chemtrails were in the air. That huge sunrise that you see in that one image, that's from Nemesis, a brown dwarf star that comes very close to our solar system.
Well, it was there for a minute, Alex. Then we lost you. It's awesome pick. Awesome pick.
That was seen in the skies over my friend that took that photograph. I have numerous images like that
Okay, we
from the
got it
Middle
back.
East. Okay.
I'm getting knocked off. Don't know why.
The powers that be.
Yeah, I know.
There you go. There you
It seems
go.
every time I want to, it seems like I got some photographs from Jeff that I'm trying to share right now too, and they're not letting me go upload right. And every time I upload them, I get knocked off. Boom, boom. I'm like, no way.
Mm-hmm. They
Well,
monitor everything I email. They monitor my phone calls. They've actually turned off my phone many times.
Welcome to my world. I just, I don't want to gloat, but I don't want to suffer alone. I love you guys.
Well, I
Love you too.
joined your club there.
That's it. So if I can handle it, you can handle it. Pull up your bootstraps and carry on, my friend.
That's right. Tighten your belt strip also.
We just have to know that this is the way it is and just go back to the drawing board, They can kick you, but they can't kick you out.
It will be a complete reset button for God to push.
Now, AJ,
will be a reset.
can you download this recording so we don't lose it this time?
Yeah, I'll download it as soon as it's done. I'll download it.
Okay. Because I know earlier we had somebody ask us if we were going to be able to, if it was live streaming on YouTube, and we are going to start, editing some of my shows and trying to get them back up, and we lost AJ again. It's like he's like a little gopher. He pops out of the hole and then he pops back in.
They have done it to me on too many shows, so I know exactly how he feels.
Oh God, it's just
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, like you said, you gotta enjoy it. You gotta love it. So hey, this is beautiful. I'm loving it.
Okay. As long as you're loving it.
I'm
I'm just wondering when we
okay
start
with it
live
also.
streaming, because we are going to check it out. We're going to do some test shows, and we're going to start live streaming when we're on the air here. We can live stream in YouTube, and well, this ought to be interesting when we start doing that, you guys.
No problem.
So, let's hope we're still here to continue on. We'll be getting more and more excellent picks. Thank you, Alex, for sharing with us all the picks tonight. Thank you so much, Robert, for coming back and going over this again with us. I know it's a lot for everybody.
It's worth it to warn as many people as we can as to what's coming, all of your listeners. Hopefully they get prepared ASAP.
And mainly don't be afraid.
No.
Whatever happens. Just remember, when you cross over, you don't die. You just go into another realm and life goes on, only without your physical body.
God would not want us to be fearful. He would not want us to be scared. He would want us to stand up and look fear right in the face.
Exactly. And like I was talking earlier, Dolores Cannon says that people actually volunteered to come here at this time to help those that aren't aware of what's going on to go through the transition. And I believe that all of us out here that are getting the word out in our Nibiru, Planet X, the solar system, the things that we're showing and, and the debunking. And, and of course we always have trolls. I mean, come on, what would we do without the dark side?
I know.
It wouldn't be any fun.
I'm looking forward to see that. I'm looking forward to see that thing from Pope Francis.
I will post that in your message boards tonight, honey.
Okay, thank you very much.
And thank you, honey. And we'll have you back Maybe we'll have you come back next month and we'll go over some more of your photographs and see if our Pope starts crying about some more.
You got it.
Or
All right.
why don't they just announce it already? They make it seem like us. We're not gonna be able to take it. Like we're children. We're gonna be crying, ratting around. La 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 la. I don't care. Just tell me so I could go ahead and be comfortable already. I could be like, all right. I have to sit down and sit down on my couch, you know, enjoy what I'm doing right now, and then you guys tell me what day and time I have to go outside so I can repent and be like, okay, I'm okay with life now. You know, come on. It's
Well,
not like I'm scared of
Alex,
it.
come on. You know why they aren't going to announce it. If they announced it right now and it didn't come for a year and a half, would you go to work? Would you pay your taxes?
No, I
No.
wouldn't.
There would be all these idiots out there going, "Hey, let's go crazy. Let's bust the windows out of stores and steal crap." And I mean, you're talking to rational people here, us. You got to remember there's a whole bunch of Looney Tunes out there.
Right.
So they are never going to announce it.
I
They
don't
are.
care. And you know what?
Nope.
What's the name? Putin and the Chinese announced it to their people. I mean, you got to realize the Chinese celebrate this almost every other year. The year of the dragon. I mean, that's why
Yeah,
they put the
well,
fireworks.
Putin put it on their news, but you got to remember, do you misbehave in Russia?
No, you don't.
Okay. They know better than to do that kind of crap. They know damn well they'll be lined up with the firing squad. They don't have the
Hey,
same
no,
political
you know what it is? They won't have a privilege or access to the underground bunker.
That's right.
the party's
Look,
over.
from what I hear that the underground bunkers where they're at, they're like what is it, like almost like a 5 miles or like 5 minute walk where they're at. Well, I mean, they could just run right there where they're at. I mean, these people already know where they're
Do
at.
you got your ticket to the underground bunker? I know I
No,
got
I don't.
mine. They aren't going to give us a ticket to the underground bunker. We're going to be hanging out here like dirt bags.
If we were given the tickets to the underground bunker, I think the only reason why they would take us down there is just for us to just for them to use us as guinea pigs after they're done to get rid of us.
Exactly. They do. If they had us down there, they'd probably torture the hell out of us for entertainment. No, that's right. I'll
Nah,
just stay
body
right here.
parts. Body
Yes,
parts. That's why they have guillotines for.
that's what Al Cuppet said. Al Cuppet said the guillotines were to behead people, and then they were going to. Because when I interviewed him, he said they just put up a new camp next to a meat packing processing plant, and
Oh,
I said,
jeez.
I go a meat processing
Oh,
plant. I said, for what? I go, they're going to eat
I know where
people?
this is going.
He said, no, honey. He said,
Wait,
what happens when you put someone up in front of a firing squad? He goes, you shoot them, that wrecks all the organs.
don't,
He goes, if you cut their head
Matt,
off,
bad
then you can
baby,
harvest organs.
bad baby.
And I
Don't
said,
you remember what Soylent? Do you remember Soylent
Soylent Green,
Green?
yes. Yes, Soylent Green. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought about because I said to him, I said, okay, but I still don't get the meat processing plant. I go, well, what, are they going to grind people, and he goes, no, he goes, they want the freezers. He goes, they're going to harvest organs and freeze them. He goes, these people think they're going to live forever. I'm like, oh, man,
and
that's
and grind up the remaining bodies and make Soylent Green. People have to people have to be fed somehow.
Yes, this is
Yeah, but
true. This is,
Haven't you noticed now? When people talk about it when they eat the meat now, they said it doesn't taste like the way it used to back then. They say it has a weird taste, a weird.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, hey, who's not to say that
Mhm.
they ain't really feeding us feeding us, humans?
okay, you guys. Now I'm losing my appetite. All right. Well, now that you
Yeah.
totally grossed me out, I just want to thank you both for being on tonight. And Alex, do you want to tell everybody what we got, what we plan on doing as far as editing and putting up on YouTube?
Well, what we're gonna do, we're gonna download all her videos, put them on YouTube. We have to splice out her, basically edit out her bumper music because YouTube's copyright people already with that. So what we're gonna do is whenever the people talk about what we're just gonna splice in the videos, the photographs, and whatever the person is talking about. That's what we're gonna do. It should be up and running within a week. She should have all her
Cool.
maybe about like about 15 videos at like in one day. I'm gonna be trying to help her out the best I can. Try to upload as much as I can for her.
And I appreciate that.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so we will, when we start getting this up, and it'll be under Fight for Our Freedom Radio. I do have a YouTube account. I just don't have anything posted there yet, but well, that's what we plan on doing. So then start looking for me over there. And then we are also going to try to figure out, because when we're on the air here, we have the capability of live streaming into YouTube. So we're gonna probably do a couple test runs on that and see if we can get that working while we're on the air here, and then we won't have to do any downloading and putting them up. But I've got about 300 shows that we can download and put up over there.
I know that's a lot. That's a lot of shows to do right now.
Well, we'll get there, just baby steps, baby steps. And on that note, I want to thank you both for joining me tonight. I love you both. Stay safe, and we'll have you back ASAP.
Right, love you guys both. Love you both.
Thank you,
Have a
Robert.
nice night, you two. All
All right, have a nice
Okay.
night. Good night.
And
Take care.
join us
Bye.
next week. Join us next week. We're going to have Dr. Richard Allen Miller back. And hopefully he's feeling better. He's going to update us on what's going on in California, and also what's going on with these invasion down there that they're planning, and I think it's Operation Musket. And so we will be out here next week, 10 p.m. Eastern, and you all have a safe week. And remember, Bad Baby loves you.
All right. Good night, guys.